Hello, this is Dr. Wendy Rowley, and this is episode 21 of the Heartfield series. I really enjoyed the last one, and I'm enjoying the Human Potential, which is another video series on YouTube. And I'm also enjoying something new called The New Connection. They are overlapping and related, but the details and some of the information is different with a different flavor. And I also would like to explain the reason I don't tell you what the name of the episode is when we start is because I don't know. Whenever we do a new video, I do it by number because I listen to it afterwards, or I'm listening when it's happening during the channel, and then I get the subject matter. I believe I sometimes ask for a hint ahead, and I believe today's shared information from Allaenea will be about, if you've been watching these videos, I'm a channeler, and I channel a Pleiadian mother of sound named Allaenea, and she's bringing in hopeful, positive, and inspiring message. I also do heart field healing and the tones of healing. The tones of healing, or the tones of the heart. That's two names for the same one. And she's involved in that work also. It's usually when a new healing paradigm comes down, there's often higher creational beings on the other side of the veil that bring it in, because healing is a cooperative event. So I'd like to talk a little bit about healing, because people are very interested in it. Once people have an experience of their spiritual nature, they often really, really want to run with it. They want to learn about it. They want to heal. How do you do that? How can I learn more? Where do I go? How do I do this? I want to do this. And people really get on their spiritual path and seeking once they have an experience of their spiritual nature. And the only way to truly validate yourself as a spirit in a body is to have your own direct experience with your spiritual nature. So I always say, do a shout out to the universe and to your soul and a little connection up to your higher self, and say, I want spiritual experiences. I want validation of my spiritual nature. And I want to know I'm connected. I want to know I'm on the right path. I want help with this problem, or whatever it is you ask. You must ask, because with free will, you can choose to just watch a lot of videos and hang out and enjoy your life, or you could get on a path to know thyself, as it says over the Oracle of Delphi in Greece, to know thyself. And in knowing yourself and learning about your spiritual nature, there comes more mastery of energy management, of your emotions, your thinking, your feeling, and maybe what you choose to do with that free will in that paradigm of your universe that you have to exercise that in. Do I make this decision? Do I not? Do I say that or not? Do I allow myself to feel that way or not? If you choose to get into the healing arts and work with healing, you have to do a lot of energy management. You have to keep your energy moving. You have to keep it clear. You need, with clients, to see, do you have a match with them? And if you need to work yours through first in order to help them move their energy. Because when you have a dam with a lot of sticks preventing the water flow, and you're the healer and you have that same lack of flow, how are you going to get that movement going between the alchemy of soul to soul and human to human and spirit healing going? So as a healer, you need to learn to clear your matches with people, which means you have the similar disharmony vibration, and that's sort of a given. And you need to keep your energy running. You need to eat well. Exercise is good. And you need to choose consciously to be on a higher path. Now, life is messy and it's not perfect. And women get caught in perfect pictures, and some men do too. Women do because it's part of our nature, producing children that are healthy in our third energy field. But so in that perfect picture, you also have to forgive yourself and say, the charge of my disharmony was greater than me in that moment. And I'm looking at that. I watch myself go by in meditation as a daily basis. Where did I do well? Where did I didn't? And whose energy was whose was what was mine. And you take inventory, as they say. And then you say, okay, well, what can I learn from that? How can I change that way of reacting when that energy comes up? How can I heal some of that charge out so I don't lose my space, my center, my alignment, my balance, and get into a messy state emotionally, mentally, sometimes physically? Oh, I'm so angry. So yeah, you can punch a pillow, break flower pots, go for a run. It's very important to try to find a positive way to get out that charge. Okay, I sound a little bit preachy and lectury. I don't need to do that. I'm going to get out of the way, and I believe Allaenea is going to talk in relationship to the heart field and healing, and we will see. All right. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you on the other side. Got to keep these short and sweet for your busy lives. Oh, good day to you, dearest beings of light. This is Allaenea of Cosmic Service, Pleiadian Mother of Sound. This one's in the background going, they must be wondering how I can just go from that to that. And let us explain, because that might help you. This one chose to become a vessel for healing. And that is her nature, because she is indeed a healer and has a large Akashic record database of information from having 2/3 of her Akash being a healer. Some people just have large Akashas filled with certain things. That's the way it is. And so she very gingerly got into the channeling. She wasn't a fan completely of channeling based on some things she read when she was younger, but she felt that some of the information that she's responded to in her life that rang true, and she's applied some of the principles, were from channelers. So she decided to, in deep prayer, meditation, and a particular, very specific direction to the divine, allow herself to be opened to be a channeler. So in the beginning, and she was taught, you don't let a channel, the being you're sharing information with, come down below the neck. So in the beginning, she would get pushed out a little bit, and then she evolved, and she said, well, there's got to be a more elegant way of doing this, because is that healthy for me in my body as a spirit? So we were able to make a little connection as she healed herself and cleared her Akash that allows for this real direct thing. And it is part of what is needed for her also in the healing paradigm, to be able to do the tones of healing, the healing that is coming, and the divine love healing training for her as the teacher. So sometimes there are cooperations of shared soul energies, and that's what this is. It's a cooperation through shared soul energies. All right, we'll leave it at that, and we hope that gives you some comfort on how this can happen so quickly. So what do we wish to speak to you about this day? Indeed, we did give her the hint about healing, and we are going to give some new information. So we're going to ask her to get very out of the way, because she gets a little nervous with names or new information, or reciting back the list in a short way of what we spoke about. So she'll get over those eventually. She's working toward a little block in that mental field that will probably help with that. And that was a hint for her. All right. So what we like to say this day about healing and your heart field and your ability to heal is that one of the most profound connections you have to your soul, and through your soul to soul groups, and through your soul group to the divine on the other side of your 26-foot wide energy field. Your aura and your body are about 2 to 4 to 5 feet wide, and the rest is an aura of your outer torus. And that is your 26-foot wide energy field. And that is very advanced stuff in that outer torus. And we've gone into it a little bit, but we're not going to go into that here. But there's a connection through you and your central column, your interdimensional DNA of your spirit body, an interim spirit body, right out to the outer torus and right out to the field where there is the benevolence, love, and creational aspects of the creator that we call the supreme being heart engine, just for a simple metaphor of a picture. So this one has healed a lot and cleared out to that connection fairly well, with more to come when she brings us to group healing. But so the heart field and your most profound connection in your entire being that will be there from the minute you come into Earth until you leave this planetary system with a group of souls as a group pod going somewhere to do something, you have the most profound connection into healing. And why is that? Because healing is responsible for evolution. And you cannot have evolution without healing. Because you create, and it's maybe not completely aligned with light and the Creator's divine blueprint and plan. Again, metaphors for that there is a system to the enlightenment of a planetary process with human-type beings on it as you're in, as techie as we speak. And we speak in metaphors and pictures so that you can understand really beyond your scientific and physics knowledge an energy dynamic of your spiritual nature, overlapping material reality, meshed and entrained with the universe and other planetary systems. So that connection is profound because it not only allows the healing of your pain and your feelings and your thinking and your body, but it allows change to happen, to allow new energy and new beginnings and new information and new inventions and new ways of healing and new ways of being and creating. It is like an engine. You can think of healing as being like an engine of change. So your most profound connection of your being as a human body type, spiritual being in a human body, is the healing. And it is why you will know through all of your history on earth that those who are profoundly connected to spirit can heal. And as you evolve in your spiritual natures over millions and millions of years, and this one was profoundly, deeply convicted of this truth, that the human body was designed to be a self-healing system. The human body was designed to be a self-healing system. The human body was designed to be a self-healing system. And where do you show that? You show that in your sci-fi movies with aliens who have managed to come to this planet in spaceships, which you can't do yet. And you show them often self-healing. A little subconscious truth percolating through sci-fi writers. So your body was just, and your spirit and your connection to your divinity and healing, eventually over millions of years of your evolution becomes a self-healing system. But you don't have the dense physical body of tissue you have now. You have a more refined, sort of fluid material body. Now, not like you had in Lemuria when you came into the planet, which there's writings on that and channelings about that you can find on the web. And a really great book this one read was called The Lemurian Scrolls, maybe. It's written by a man in Hawaii and was brought forward by Lee Carroll, a channeler who spoke about that. And that along with Edgar Casey and some Rudolf Steiner work and some other channelers bringing in information now, and this time, is some of the understandings of the way you evolved into form, and I didn't even have cartilaginous bones and structure like you do now. And so on the way out, it's not quite the same. It's actually more of an evolutionary spirit body. Now, in one of our channelings, we mentioned that to travel through wormholes as a spirit without the need for spaceships is something that you actually have a specific type of light body for, that you can also create and evolve in. For besides the 4 or 5 basic structures of different types of bodies, we're talking beyond your physical body, but maybe you have 4 to 5. Now, 5 being that light body, traveling body, but you have 4 to 5, 4 other main bodies that all work within your spiritual nature that are kind of overlaying your spirit body. That is overlaying your physical body. You all have that. Within that paradigm, there are about 6 other types of spirit bodies that you can eventually evolve into that have different purposes. So as you evolve through a spirit body, from a spirit into a spirit body, into a dense physical body, through the evolution of a planetary system, you also develop, and your physical body changes during that process. You also develop changes in the 4 other types of spirit bodies that you have, and you also can develop 6 other types of spirit bodies that you can use in the new capabilities, gifts, and qualities that you develop as you go through your enlightened process over millions of years. And one of these, of course, we just mentioned, helps you travel through wormholes in space. This information is a little bit of a tidbit for someone that this one met, who is also a doctor, who also does toning work, who is wondering how you could do that. So we hope he finds this information inspiring and he can focus on that, because that will help him in some other way to something that he will discover. And we're going to leave that at that. And if you'd like to send this clip to him as a little cutout, go right ahead. All right, dear one, that was a little message for her, which we have to do once in a while, because sometimes she only totally relaxes when she is providing information for you, because she feels that's very important. All right, so your healing ability is amazing, and you have the ability to develop future spirit bodies that serve other purposes of your evolving, multidimensional spiritual nature, because you are first and foremost consciousness. And you can have an encapsulated consciousness, looks like a little ball of color. Some people call them orbs, or you can have different bodies of spirit that you manifest in. And this one was shown that long ago, and we're going to ask her to get out of the way. She gets a little nervous when we share personal stuff, but we're going to tell you all this story of something she experienced to give a picture of something that will lead into our talk about healing. And this might be a little longer than 15 minutes. This segment, it might be upwards of 20 to 25. So you might need a little more time to listen to this. And we're just giving you that heads up because there's more to explain. So this one, long ago, had taken a trip to Nepal and learned from the teacher that did that trip that the buildings in Nepal are very specifically designed, and they have a very, very ancient understanding of energy and exchanges with other beings that are in our world and our overlapping multidimensional quantum universe that we live within. And so a building might have a roof, and there might be peaks on the corners and a peak in the center. And she was told that they invite the creator to send spiritual beings to hold those 4 points for that building, that intention, that work going on, the people in that building, to hold a particular energy. Something sacred, something divine, maybe healing, maybe no particular types of energies entering in there, whatever it is they decide. So this one got home to Connecticut, where she lives, and went running right out there and asked the creator to do that. And she saw them come to 4 points on her, what she does, her creating a space, which she says in some of her workshops, which is you put a rose, you float it in the center of the room, gold balls in the ceilings or a mock ceiling to create a rectangle, gold balls in a floor or a mock floor to create a rectangle, gold lines going to the hub of the rose, you ground the rose down, you connect it up to the creator, you invite the creator in, you create sacred space. It allows your body to go. It sets an intention through your spirit to soul and the creative force, and it brings in a flood of energies that help you in your meditation, where you are multidimensional and you work through quantum space and time and reality in that multidimensionality all the time, even though you don't know it. Even from the very first time you enter into this planet as a newbie on this planet, you are already working multidimensional energy, the most basic kind. So she one day said, gee, I wonder what the right way to pray is. And she turned to these, kind of to the Maritas, but she did a shout out and said, I would really like to know. Can someone show me? She saw one of the Maritas come. Maritas is another word, I'm sorry, in some language, maybe Spanish or Portuguese or something. And it's a word that they use because this concept of space holders of divine intent, to hold a space, not protection, holding in, space holders of divine intent, fluid, is known in other cultures that have old history. So one of her spiritual teachers mentioned that to her. So anyway, she asked these space holders of divine intent, or a shout out to the universe, how do I pray? What is the right way to really pray? And she saw one of them come down, and they said to her, watch. And we have 2 stories within a story. And so she saw them, all 4 of them, come down off their posts and go to the center of her property and form a circle. And they began to attune, and she saw their vibration change and align and go straight up and down and then up to the creative source. And she saw their hearts start to glow. And she saw that then become like a gamma ray burst, and all 4 of their hearts connected in a ring, and a stream of energy shot up through a wormhole was formed, and she watched a light stream shoot up, and she was shown that. There's another part to that story. We will do that in the next episode. But in this story, she was also shown another time that when you're working with your multidimensional nature and healing in these spaces, other beings cannot see you. They just see you like she saw in that space, in that wormhole, just vibrating energy. What is that? I don't know. You're seen as vibrating energy in quantum space and no time, and your multidimensional being by beings of other types on the other side of the veil in all sorts of multidimensional spaces, including off your planet, which you have in your being, because you've had lots of experiences. So multiple beings. And so she was shown one day that she can, and the being showed her, the Marita showed her, he said, watch. And he went, boing. And he popped his light through the fibers of his light body and showed him to her. And he suddenly was a being outlined in fibers of light that looked human. And he said, you can do that. So she started doing that. As she said to the being, let us have peace. Let us end this. Let us not throw energy back and forth. You go our way, I go your way. If you ever tried to help me, thank you. Here's your energy back, whatever she did. And she would show them. And one time, when she first did it, she had a being that she could very well see do this, go down on one knee before her, bow his head, and say, excuse me and forgive me. I did not know you were a light being. At that moment, she realized humans are the supreme beings on the planet, and that we are divinely protected and there's nothing to fear. Because when she popped her light fibers through, she felt that presence of her higher self soul energy in those fibers that gave her strength. So you have that. You can do that even when you're in a situation with another person and there's friction and it's not working out well, and you can just hold space, ask the Creator to send them light, and just intend that you are popping into your spirit body with your light and showing your light fibers. And it is a comfort. Another little aside. So, what is the point of the light fiber body in relationship to healing? And this is what we're going to speak about today. And what is that light fiber body? And what is it different? And what are these 4 bodies, spirit bodies that we spoke about? So we're going to talk about that and bring that into relationship to healing and wind this up for you. All right. You have your dense physical body. You have a spirit body that overlays that. This is your kind of soul body. It is the one that is primary through all of your incarnations on earth and all of your incarnations with your soul extraplanetary. It is the primary body of spirit. The second body is an interim spirit body. We have a Christ grid. We have an interim Christ grid, or we have the Christ or soul master grid. We have the interim Christ grid, or another name, the soul interim grid, or the soul creational grid, or the interim creational grid. In other words, in between having to do with creation and the soul. And you have the human crystalline grid, which is partly your recording Akash of light and dark quotants of all at tribes and nations you've done together in the human crystalline grid. And you have the upper part of that, which is all the gold you've laid in good works as groups coming together. And it is the same with your being. You have your droses of what you need to work on, and you have the parts where you did well, the gold that you use in your own healing. And you heal through your body in layers over and over and over, the drose level, and then the connections to the gold through your supreme being heart level. And that is the paradigm of healing, basically. So you have the interim spirit body, and the interim spirit body is the changing body. It has connections to all sorts of areas. It can have the whole soul group Akash of gold light for group healing work. It can have your individual gold from your Akash, which is not on the human crystalline grid, but is in another area, but is in the process of being enmeshed into the human crystalline grid. This is new. It's happening. Cryon and Lee Carroll spoke about it. Others have spoken about it. That's an ongoing piece of work right now. But that interim spirit body changes, and it allows for the changes to come through that are going to eventually be physical and manifest through the physical body. It is a changing body. It is a body of the light fibers that we just spoke about. That is the light fiber body. The spirit body, that is your primary, you don't actually get to really be in and with until you cross over and you go into that body between incarnations. So your interim body is the one you're here with now, the changeable, the healing, the creating, the information exchange, the getting new informations from, if you happen to be watching the new connection tape that's starting, that's more on grids and time capsules. And there's some of that work in the human series. You can look at it by title. It talks about the interim Christ grid and what's on it. Lots of talk about that. You see why we have to divide these into little subjects, because it's a lofty and large group and piece and puzzle of information we're trying to bring together for you. Okay, so get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way. So where were we on the grid? The interim spirit body grid. So that's that one. The third body is a body related to your higher self. Now, this one has read that the interim, that the higher self is very shy and skittish and can present as very strange. And she had that experience. And that is the higher self of the human crystalline, of the part of the human crystalline grid and part of your individual. Some people call it the cave of creation, your individual crystal. That's your life force, your personal karma is there. We tend to think of it as your working Akash, and we tend to think of it as the human crystalline grid as your soul group Akash, your personal working Akash and your soul group Akash. Okay, so those are merging. So this one, get out of the way. Your true primary spirit body is up with the higher creational beings of light and works with them, and you work with them in between incarnations, and that's your primary. Your interim spirit body is the body of light that we told the story about, that you can pop your light fibers through, that you heal through, that's very changeable, that gives changing and evolutionary setups to go to the spirit body and to the physical body. And the next one, the third one, is a understanding of a type of higher self spirit body. So we mentioned your higher self is connected to the personal Akash and the lower level of the soul group Akash, but it is also connected to the soul group Akash group gold, using group soul group healing, which is coming in. This work is beginning on a very large level through this one and many others on the web. That spirit body for the higher self is the evolutionary higher self interim spirit body. Who knew? And that evolves as you as a soul group evolve. So you collectively all evolve your soul group, your higher self together. You collectively evolve the higher self interim evolutionary spirit body together. That is your group creation. Who knew? So the fourth spirit body is not known by this one at all, so get out of the way. And she didn't know about the higher self spirit body. She just knew about the body, the interim body, and the spirit body. Now she knows about the higher self spirit body, and now she also knows about the interim soul creational grid group spirit body. The soul group creational interim spirit grid, spirit body. So that grid, the interim Christ grid, the soul creational grid, the soul interim creational grid, the three different kind of names we're trying to describe that as, that's in between the Christ grid and the human creational grid, has a group soul body. And that is what is getting very, very, very active now. It's a hard concept to imagine that you have a body within a soul group body. But the metaphor most often used is you are a drop in an ocean or in the river of life. So think of it that way. You are a part of an evolutionary group soul body. And that is kind of like the evolution of your abilities to create as a group that you then take to another planetary system and put your grid down. A little bit more understanding on how we from the Pleiades were able to do that and create time capsules, which has our information, that are connected to this interim grid, that are now becoming online with the period you are in, that we call the shift change time of a planetary system. You call it the 26,000-year galactic window. You call it the midpoint of a planetary evolution. You have lots of terms. You call it the Great Awakening. You're calling it the evolution, like it's the one. You have all sorts of terms that are percolating all over your internet and your web and your consciousness over this. Okay, so now you can review this information. She'll put a little synopsis in the write-up. So relax, let go. You learn something new. It's okay. It's okay. It's a lot of information. And it might make you go, those of you who have been on the earth longer and have past lives of healers or have been persecuted for your beliefs or your religions or your thoughts or your new ways of doing or whatever, that kind of lights that up. Spiritual information that is new can light that up. It's okay. You can heal that. No big deal. Let that go. Breathe. We're just trying to help you understand why sometimes you have tenseness in the body, feelings, when you learn something new about your spiritual nature. And that goes away with healing in your old Akashic records. All right. So to continue this. So in this paradigm you're in now, there is profound healing coming forward. And that is using the higher self, spirit body, at the gold level of you as a soul group that is using the interim Christ grid or soul creational interim grid soul group spirit body. And it is using a new pathway. As we said, your individual Akash, your individual working Akash of your life force, and your soul group, human crystalline grid of tribes and nations, Akash is being connected. And there is a connection in there now, which is making it possible for these two spirit bodies to communicate. There is a connection now that's making it possible for those two spirit bodies to communicate. And what happens when that happens? A new paradigm of healing. So you are beginning a very profound and new paradigm of healing that has never been on the earth before, because you are at the shift change time of a planetary system. And what is that going to do? It's going to create a scrubbing of the lower level of the human crystalline grid and your matching complex you might have at your individual life force level in your spirit body, interim spirit body. So your interim spirit body of you personally, the higher self, collective spirit body of the soul group level, and the soul group, highly evolved, interim Christ grid, creational soul grid spirit, group spirit body is now involved. So there's healing through all of this now in a cycling of circle, so that the human crystalline grid may be scrubbed and clean, so that new information, new inventions, new things may come forward into the creational aspects of humans through their sensing of a spiritual nature into their physical form to receive inspiration and ideas and ahas that they suddenly get and to create and invent something. For that is how it works. All right. This is what we wished you to know this day, that you have profound connections to healing. And we painted a picture so that you could see how healing is pumping in new evolution. And we bring you this so that you will join in when you start to see groups of people worldwide coming together in intention for soul planetary group healing. So we hope you feel this call, for this is profound and it is part of the plan that you all have signed up and said yes for. We want to go forward and let's do this. So, peace be with you. You are dearly loved. Expect benevolence in all you do, and we bid you adieu. This is Allaenea of Cosmic Service, Pleiadian Mother of Sound. All right, that was short and sweet for me. I'm going to keep it that way. I thought that was really, really inspiring and wonderful information. Like, subscribe, comment. The website, we're getting that more together. If anyone should be, I had someone sign up for the members section. That's evolving and partly done, but I don't want them to be disappointed. So I'm just going to say, anyone who signs up and subscribes to the members section, which is going to become an evolving kind of we're really involved in this. We want to go forward with this. We want to be involved in this work. We want more involved information. So I could get my peeps together who might feel the call for this, because that's the way it works. There's going to be a 2-year membership thrown in for that. Why we add more channelings, more information, some workshops and things in there to get that up and running. This year for sure, because it only came up last year. All right, thank you for helping me as I get on this new path. This is the only reason why I've come forward to the public web, because I wholeheartedly, truly believe in the benevolence of this work and what we can do together. Thank you, and see you next time. Like, subscribe, comment. Bye.